Dark Star, Martin Slumbers, head of the R&A, is out. He's out of a job come the end of the year. So he does have the year to finish. The question here is, for the show, did he quit or was he canned? Did he get fired by the board at the R&A or did he just quit? And that's what we're going to go into right now. I come to you, you have strong feelings, and this is a great multiple choice episode. So we'll have 5 options here, A through E, of what is going on, and we will answer accordingly. Dark Star, I come to you. What do you think's going on? And we'll go through the options.
All right. Well, I think you're just plain and simple. I'll get right to it. He was asked to leave. There's no question in my mind. And I know we're going to disagree on this one a little bit, but I strongly
fired.
feel
he was fired.
That the players, I strongly feel the players on both sides of the Atlantic, and it's truly the Ryder Cup clique. The Ryder Cup clique runs both sides, and in Europe, they don't want him anymore. They don't want Slumbers, and I got to throw in Pelley. They're both going, and in my opinion, they're both the same. They're both gone. The players especially want them gone. And there's a lot of trivial things that they'll bring up, whether it's a golf ball rollback or that he never found a way to get the 150th Open, on the table while the other 3 majors found a way during COVID to have their tournament. So that's the camp I'm at. I'm looking at, and I know you don't think the players have any say whatsoever, especially on that side of the pond, but I think they do, and I think they made some strong comments already. So
I think that we will
I'm going to
disagree.
throw it back to you with that.
You think that suddenly in the British Empire, the peasants are running the show over there.
Well, they don't want the peasants to storm the castle. There's only so much beer and bread they can throw them.
Peasants aren't in any position to storm the castle at the moment. That doesn't happen very often. But you're right. They clearly they don't want that. They never do want that. And there's various ways they make that happen. But that's not this show. So Slumbers is out. Option A, the British aristocracy, the golf aristocracy, is anti-PIF in reality, and Martin is too snuggly with Yasir Al-Rumayyan and the PIF. He had him at the Open in the box. He then played golf with him in the tournament at the Dunhill, and is now getting this deal rolling with Golf Saudi for the R&A to provide services for a fee, presumably. Maybe a hefty fee. So maybe that's too snuggly for the aristocracy. Option A, the British aristocracy, the board at the R&A, who would have the ability to fire the CEO, doesn't like that. They're anti-PIF in reality. And B, option B, the opposite, that the board at the R&A is very much pro PIF and very much wants the money. They want the deal. They want the money. They want this thing to move along. They're worried about their major. All of that. And Slumbers just simply isn't moving fast enough. Okay. Option C, the British aristocracy does not support the ball rollback, which we know from our comments that the fans of this show don't like the ball rollback either. And maybe we could conclude that most amateur golfers don't like the idea at all. And maybe the R&A board is in that group. They are amateur golfers. Maybe they hate it just as much as anybody. And the fact that Slumbers helped push that through, or maybe was the key guy that pushed that through, was too much. That's a bridge too far. We can't take it anymore on top of all these other things that you're doing. So you're out. Option D, Slumbers is just simply not one of the guys. He's not one of the guys, but he's there to do a job, which is what aristocracies do. They hire Winston Churchill to get the job done, and then they fire him immediately when the job's completed. I've witnessed this firsthand in corporations. So you bring in the guy that can really do the job, but you get rid of him ASAP when the job is complete. So, you've guided us to where we need to be, Martin. Great. You've increased money. He's definitely helped their finances. And maybe they brought him in specifically to do that because he's a banker. He's an investment banker by trade, and they needed the help. And he's accomplished that. So hats off to you, Martin. And now that he has, and in this answer D, that's option D, that they're on a good trajectory with PIF money. He's gotten the Golf Saudi thing rolling and la, la, la. Okay, hey, good time to get rid of the guy. Now we can put in one of our other guys who we really like and who is one of the gang and get rid of Slumbers because now he's on cruise control. So that's option D, that this is just a great time to pivot to a guy that we really do like, who's one of us, and get him in there. Option E, he quit. Martin is done. I've done what I need to do, and this is a great time for me to say adios to the board and to the R&A, because why do people quit when they're only 63 years old? So he's not an old guy. What? Well, he's moving on to other opportunities, Darkstar. This is option E, and I will go into... I'm giving away my answer. I think E is the answer. But I won't tell you what his opportunities may be. So, review quickly. Option A, the British aristocracy is anti-PIF and Martin is too pro-PIF. Option B, Slumbers is just not doing enough with the PIF to get the money rolling. Option C, the rollback. The ball rollback is too much. Option D, Slumbers is not one of the good old boys in the good old boy network, and now's a good time to get rid of him. Option E, Slumbers is quitting. I'm done. I'm moving on. No hard feelings, but something more tantalizing is in front of me where I can make a lot of money. Okay, Darkstar, you are saying that he was fired. Which one of those options fits best with your viewpoint?
Yeah, I guess B fits best. I mean, obviously, A, you can never be too close to a couple $1 billion. So I don't think it's A. The golf ball rollback's a minor thing. He's not going to be fired for that. D is something, he's probably not exactly the good old boy, because I don't think he did exactly what the good old boys want with those things I had just mentioned, whether it's the golf ball rollback, postponing the 150th Open. And really, he brought in a lot of family and women's golf to grow the game, and I think that's great, but it's always a challenge to grow things from the bottom up, as we have seen in economics throughout the world. If you don't increase production but you increase wages, that just creates inflation, and so you might have a artificial problem in golf right now in Britain because of answer D. So B is what I feel most comfortable talking about. And I do think strongly that the players had something to do with it, especially when I see the comments that were made about Pelley, who's basically leaving at the same time. In my opinion, they're both being asked to leave. Guys, it's time for a fresh start. You did a great job, and we're going in a different direction. We're, that type of situation.
We wish you well, right? We wish you well.
We
Done a
wish you
great
well.
job. Never been a better job, but you're leaving. Let me ask you, was the announcement for Pelley, head of the DP World Tour European Tour, being out, taking a new job, is how it's been positioned in the press. Was that not first? Wasn't that the first of these two announcements, which I think came back to back one day to the next? I think Wednesday was Pelley, and yesterday, Thursday, the 11th of January, was Slumbers. Is that right?
I thought it was the opposite. I thought it went Slumbers on the 10th,
right.
and then Pelley on the 11th.
I can't remember.
I don't think that makes too much of a difference.
No, I don't think. Well, the reason I mention it, you're right. It's irrelevant really when it hit the press, because we don't know when these decisions were actually made. Right, the announcement is not the same as the date of when they made the decision, which was weeks ago or months ago, perhaps, probably weeks. But the reason I bring it up, could it be that the Pelley decision has been on the wall for a while? That seems likely to me, because and I think we agree on Pelley in that he was asked to leave. He was fired in the corporate sense, which is, we're going to be making some changes here. There's a new consulting team coming in. We've hired consultants, in fact, to look at this issue and that issue. And a smart CEO looks at that and says, "Oh, I'm out, and you're giving me time to find a new job."
And let me interject one thing here, because I know you hate when I do this, but I have to interject.
Are you taking us in an entirely different direction?
No, it's just a quick aside. This is a quick aside.
Oh, a quick aside. Okay.
Yes. I cannot stand the retreading of coaches and GMs. So now Pelley, the same thing. He's moving to this Toronto-based private equity that basically runs
Maple
all
Leaf
of the major
Sports
teams in
right?
Toronto.
Yeah.
That's crazy. put the guy at the end of the line. You know, he needs to be completely out. In my opinion, he has screwed up the DP Tour royally, and that's why the players' comments showed that they were so angry with him. So why does he keep getting chances? These NFL coaches in America, they get chance after chance, and I like. There's no new coaches. It's not rocket science. It's not eye surgery. It's coaching a football game. Anyway, all right. Aside over. Continue.
Oh, okay. That had something to do with Slumbers and the timing and all that. Oh no, it didn't. Okay, it was a quick aside though. It was a quick visit to Kansas while we were talking about North Carolina. All right, I think I remember where I was, which is Martin Slumbers. Did he decide to use the Pelley ouster, which has been in the works probably for a while, right? That they telegraphed it, like, okay, because Keith didn't just call the Maple Leafs yesterday and say, "Hey, I'm available. You need a new guy?
We'll hire you."
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's been going on for a while, and that's usually how it happens. You're cordial to your CEOs, outgoing, which helps hire the next guy or girl, right? Nobody wants to come into a hostile environment where you just get canned at the CEO level.
As soon as Pelley sold the DP Tour down the drain.
Well, don't pivot yet. Let me finish this point, which is that's been coming for a while. So Slumbers has seen it coming because everybody saw it coming at the top that Pelley was going to be out in the next 6 weeks or something. So did Slumbers use that as an opportunity to engineer his own exit, assuming that I'm right and you're wrong? You're saying he's fired. I'm saying he quit. Option E, quit for another opportunity. Is that because the timing is too coincidental, right? Pelley's out and Slumbers is out at the same exact moment they announce it. That's odd.
Sure, the timing was completely orchestrated.
By whom? Who would orchestrate Pelley. Such timing? Now you can pivot. Go ahead.
Okay, well, so you go back to Pelley. Pelley was gone as soon as he sold out the DP Tour. I love Fitzpatrick's comment.
No, who orchestrated the timing of the? This is where we just got to. You wanted to answer that question.
I'm continuing.
Oh, okay.
So he was out because, and you can see that he was out a long time ago because of the comments of the players. So when you look at who orchestrates this, I think it's a combination of the PIF and the golf aristocracy on the British side of the pond, as they say. It's like, hey guys, we have to we need to court and become the global golf and allow the United States and the PGA Tour to be United States golf in a two-faction system. So it was the PIF going, hey, we're going to give you a lot of money, and the golf aristocracy on the British side of the pond going, guys, we need to take care of ourselves a little bit more than we have been doing. So we're going to get rid of both of you eventually. And so it was orchestrated by that side of the pond, without question.
Interesting take. It is fascinating. I will add to I know you're really chomping to talk about Pelley more than Slumbers.
It's okay.
And maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But I think strategically there's more to talk about with Slumbers. But tactically, Pelley being out. Well, let me put it this way, audience. So the CEO of one of the groups that's involved in the deal negotiation with PIF to become part of NewCo, that CEO is gone in the middle of this dragged out negotiation that we have said here at this show is taking too long for the PIF's happiness factor. PIF is not satisfied with these delays, and they went and grabbed Rahm as a signal, very obvious signal of how not happy we are. And we'll keep doing this until you get your going.
Right.
Get your stuff going, and let's go. Well, in the midst of all that, one of the guys is fired. Not the other guy in America, but the guy in Europe. Well, the guy in America, did he sleep better the night after the announcement, or the night after he found out that was going to happen, or did he not sleep so well when the CEO of his counterpart?
Are you talking about Monahan?
It could be. Could be Jay that I'm mentioning. Yeah, Monahan. When the CEO of over there's only three parties here.
on April 1st or 2nd of this year, Jay Monahan will step down. He won't be fired.
Well, we've said
he
that.
will step down.
We have said that when it's a matter when the timing is right, when his ouster is useful to the American aristocracy, then he will be ousted.
Yeah,
sure, I agree with that. But now
Jay
that Pelley's out,
led us. You can write it right now. Jay has led us to this place. And we are ecstatic with the job he's done, and he has decided
brought us
to
to the
step
promised
down.
land, and now he's moving on to other opportunities. He's going to run a foundation for junior golf. I can almost predict exactly what
in Alaska.
Yeah, exactly. Just like the Martian movie, they fired what's his name, and he went and ran a junior golf clinic after he got canned. Yeah. Good movie, The Martian. So I find that interesting. So that is a reason to talk about Pelley. But if you're right and Slumbers was fired, well that says a lot. I mean, he's your guy. He's been there 9 years. They don't fire people quickly in organizations like that. They try to pick the right person and not have to make those kinds of decisions. Unlike a corporation would maybe fire somebody quickly. Or suddenly, and nobody saw this coming, according to press. It's like, what? Slumbers? What? He's leaving? Now, let me point out, audience and Darkstar, he's not gone in a month. He's leaving at the end of the year. So he's going to run the Open this year. So it's hard. It's very hard for me to imagine that they fired him and they're going to let him run their event. Unless you are, a deep corporate conspiracy guy, which says, yeah. No, he's not going to run the event. Yeah, he's going to be there, but he's not running anything. He's going to show up and have margaritas and look like he's doing something, kind of like Jay Monahan does. He's going to look like he's doing something, but we already have the replacement and he's gone. But I don't think that. Well, I think he's quitting, and that's why he's running the show, because they're happy to have him run the show for another 10 months.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't totally agree with that, because I think obviously the Pelley ouster has been in the works for a few months, and they have his replacement already. I think the Slumber ouster was still on the fence until more recently, and they don't have his replacement. So they're going to say they give him a year, but I could see this summer around the time of the Open that he has his farewell on the first tee, and they say, he's actually leaving early, and we're parting ways as friends, in 6 months instead of a year. They do need to find a quality replacement for him. There's going to be a lot of change in golf, and they can't have somebody who's just kind of a so-so guy, not defending their positions, especially.
I'm grumbling. I can't see that at all. You don't fire the guy. You're fired. We want him out. He's not doing what we want. Oh, okay. Well, you don't. If you're going to do that, then you already are. You fire the guy when you have your little chat with the other board members, and then you go look for the replacement immediately, because you need somebody to run the show. You need somebody to captain the ship right away, even if it's an interim guy that's going to come up. And that could be, the second in command can do the job. That's fine until we take our time and get the right person. Or, Bob, who do you have in mind? We'll get rid of Martin. Fine. So-and-so is awesome. We'll bring that person right in. It'll be great. No, you don't give the guy a swan song in a year. You're mad at him in a sense. I mean, he's either frustrated your business interests or he's made you a personal enemy. Either way, you don't really want to do too much for the guy. You want him out. Goodbye. Go away. Yeah, take away the parking space, as they did with Cam Smith. We're taking away your parking space. I see this
as two separate things. He's not going to be remotely involved in NewCo moving forward with the PIF, but he's still going to run the women's AIG and the
R&A is not in the PIF negotiation. I have nothing to do with it officially, right? Not officially. It's a DP World Tour and the PGA Tour and PIF.
Which is probably half the reason he's going. It's like, you needed to get us in there. We needed to have a voice, a seat at the table.
We do not see eye to eye on this one, and that's fine. So let's go here. Let's say you're right, and he was canned, and I'm going to ask you in a second what that means. What's it mean strategically? Why, if they canned it for the reason you think they canned him, pick that and amplify. Okay, what does that mean? If that was the reason that the board wanted him out at the R&A, what are they hoping to accomplish with the new guy? Okay, fine. I'm going to come to you in a sec. Get your thoughts together. I think it's answer option E, which is he quit. Fine. He quit right now because he sees he's only 63. I don't think he's ready to go sit on a boat, the rest of his life. And he's been at the top of the world of golf for 9 years. And there's a new world golf order coming. And he sees that. And he may have been talking to the guy that's sort of making that new world order happen. Oh, he has been talking to the guy. He played golf with the guy at a very public event, not some private round at Seminole or Augusta. No, he played with Yasir in front of the world cameras at the Dunhill. So he has a relationship now with Yasir, is my conclusion, more so than we thought, more so than we even thought. And you've been theorizing this right along, that the R&A is courting money with the PIF, and we see that now with Golf Saudi. I think Slumbers is taking a job with Yasir's group, or with Liv, or with Nuco. I think you're going to see Martin Slumbers at Nuco. Or a related entity. And he's quitting now to make that come together.
They want to get rid of him before he gets too cozy with Yasir.
He's quitting. I don't think they saw that coming. Martin didn't telegraph that to the guys. Maybe he told them that when he certainly did, because he's not going to burn any bridges. Martin went into the boardroom, whenever it was, called a couple of the key guys, the chairman, and They went and had lunch and said, not dinner, lunch, maybe breakfast. And he said, look, I forget the guy's name that's chairman. Here's what I'm doing. I'm going to give you a year. So obviously that's the right thing to do when this is a sudden announcement. I'm going to run everything. I got this thing on cruise control. The Open's in a great spot. I've been increasing the revenues around here for years now, and you've all appreciated that. Great. And he has. They all acknowledge that. The revenue has been headed in the right direction under his leadership. I'm going to be here a year. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to do a great job this year, and I will. I love this place. But I am going to go work at the end of this year, in October, when it's all over, so to speak, the end of the golf year, I'm going to go work with Al-Rumayyan, and here's what we're doing. I'm going to run Golf Saudi, and I'm going to be his chief advisor for Nuco, because, I know the heads of the USGA, and I know Seth, I know all the guys. I know everybody, and that's going to be my job now. I'm going to be the consigliere for Al-Rumayyan, and who sees the long view, and who better than Slumbers? That's the guy he can trust and get. And I said yesterday's show, in passing, that Rory, if he had dinner with Yasir, per your point, yesterday's show on McIlroy's 540 on the Live deal with PIF, that Yasir's in London all the time. So the Saudi royals and chief lieutenants are in London a lot. They have homes there. They have clubs there. It's very much so. And I think he's chummy. I think they've gotten to be chummy over business. And Al-Rumayyan, they own Newcastle. He's spending a lot of time there. I think he sees the Brits have always backed the House of Saud. I don't want to make this too long of a speech. That the British and the Saudis are close at the top, for sure. That's true. And they have been for 100 years. And I think Al-Rumayyan has picked Slumbers to be one of his guys in his circle as this global golf thing continues to flourish in the right direction. That's my theory. So I'm going to come back to you, and you're going to say the opposite, which is good. He was fired.
Let me get this straight. So you think that Slumbers and Pelley basically sold out the DP Tour to the United States and the PGA Tour?
Well, I don't think Slumbers had anything to do with the DP World Tour selling out.
And, no. They orchestrated it together. Nothing happens in a vacuum. So the two of them essentially sold out the DP Tour. Because obviously Pelley, as we said, was fired first, and Slumbers, his firing was the day before. So the point then is they sold out the European golf, angered all the European players, and he just quietly walked into the boardroom and said, hey, by the way, I'm leaving. I'm going to go work, and I'm going to be on the opposite side of the table. We're all going to get along and be friends? Wow. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Slumbers... Okay. Why do you think Slumbers had something to do... Why do you think that the European players...
hate Slumbers?
Fleetwood, whoever's left that means anything... hate Martin Slumbers. I mean, I can see Keith Pelley, sure, absolutely, I can see that. But Slumbers, what does he have to do with that? It's not my. I don't run the DP World Tour. I have nothing to do with it. I run the Open Championship.
He's the main guy in the negotiations for the European side.
Side of what?
The European side in this whole negotiation of NUCO, the PIF, etc.
Who,
Like you said,
Slumbers?
he's chummy with Yasir.
Slumbers?
And all of a sudden, yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
he is not in the R&A's not in the deal.
Vacuum.
R&A's got nothing to do with it.
This is not a vacuum, as you know.
I guess what you're
we said Augusta is the most important piece in the whole chess game, and you don't think the guy who's running the Open is one of the most important guys?
Yeah. I mean, if you're saying that Martin's part of the aristocracy, yes, of course, and that the aristocracy is part of the PIF deal, yes, and the aristocracy is for the PIF deal, yes, I agree with all that. Where I can't see the dots being connected is that the players are upset with Martin Slumbers. I don't see that.
Okay. If I'm a player, I don't think, the things he did in coordination with Pelley and the whole DP tour, I don't make that much of a distinction. It's like, well, General Arnold, you're on our side. Now you're on the side of the British.
You want me to, I'll hand you a conspiracy theory. You want me to hand you a conspiracy theory that'll help you make your point? All right. So this conspiracy theory, I don't believe this, but I'll throw it out there. So Slumbers was pulling the strings, and he wanted the DP World Tour behind the scenes, of course, because R&A has nothing to do with it. But let's just say the aristocracy is actually pulling the strings behind the scenes, and they wanted everything that's happened at the DP World Tour is what the aristocracy wanted. They wanted the guys to go play in America, and everything that's been unfolding for the last 5 years on that tour, including the naming rights being sold to DP World, all that, and Martin being clever, put Pelley out there to take the fall. Well, yeah, it's Pelley's fault. He did it. And so Pelley was set up to be a scapegoat, to be the target that, of course, when you're in the aristocracy, you never want you to be the problem. You always set somebody else up to be killed by the peasants.
Sure.
So the peasants have killed Pelley. Martin looks like, he's smelling clean, even though it was him the whole time, or him and his cabal, his group. There's a conspiracy theory for you. Is that you like that one?
Put it like that. I mean, but look at the other side.
Do you like that one?
Obviously, Monahan has been set up for failure. Obviously, he's going to be the scapegoat when they ask him to step down officially, or when he officially steps down, probably in April.
You're not implying. You are saying then, I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, that the R&A is actually running the European tour, just like the aristocracy in America is actually running the PGA Tour via the board. Is that what you're saying?
I don't see it being that far-fetched.
No, I just want to know what you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Okay. Because, like I said, they brought in a guy. They've already brought in Pelley's replacement, who seems to be more of a company guy, more of a business type guy. I think he has some work with IMG and a few things like that. I don't know much about. I think his name is Kinnings or something. So, so they've already made their next play.
Well, what's your strategic? In the interest of time, let me move you along because we're gonna run out of time before the show ends, which we always do. So let me move you where I would like you to go, which is okay. They fired him. Okay, fine. They fired Slumbers. Why? What do they want to accomplish with his replacement, who mayor is likely not there? Remember, he's going to be there this year. Whatever. What are they trying to do by firing Slumbers? What are they trying to accomplish? What's their strategic goal? And what does that mean for whatever the landscape is that you're going to paint?
Yeah, their strategic goal is simple. They need a guy. They need a top-up guy. They need a guy who's at the top, looking out for the best interests of the DP World Tour, essentially, they need a leader for the rest of the world against the United States, not a guy who's going to capitulate to whatever the PGA Tour wants. And I think Pelley and Slumbers were essentially PGA Tour golf guys. We run our little open. No, I shouldn't say that. We run our open tournament over here, and we'll feed all you guys in the United States our best players so you can get the ratings and you can give us the crumbs. I mean, remember, the PGA Tour sent them crumbs. They sent them, what, they sent them $100 million or something?
No,
So
it wasn't even
the
that.
the
I think
aristocracy
it was 60.
in, pardon?
I think they pledged to invest like 60 million in.
Yeah, whatever
But
it was.
in the
It was
DP world
crumbs.
too. Not,
We're going to throw you some crumbs, and the aristocracy in the R&A is like, hey,
well, they
by the way,
acquired it. The PGA Tour acquired a 40% share of the European Tour or something like that.
for nothing. Yeah, for nothing. You
Well,
sold us
why
out
did the
for
R&A
nothing.
agree to it then in your world here and what you're trying to say? Why did they agree to the acquisition at all?
Well, sure. Like I said, Slumbers was probably running things, and they realized you didn't do a good job for us.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think, well, okay, that's fine. So the strategic implication is then what? What does the R&A want to accomplish with the new CEO in today's environment where NewCo is going to happen and all this is going on?
Well, they want to be the main player everywhere except the United States.
So
and they want to run global golf in combination with NewCo everywhere except the United States.
So they're pro
and they want to be
deal.
bigger than the PGA Tour in a sense.
They want to be the principal aristocratic partner of NewCo. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
they're
Slumbers couldn't get
events in Australia, the Asian Rim, the Middle East, London, Spain, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Rory McIlroy, who is the principal player in the world right now, has abandoned the United States and moved back to Europe, and he's helping accomplish this.
Rory
has abandoned the United States.
He hasn't moved back to Europe,
right?
He hasn't moved back to Europe.
He will. He says he's going to. He's playing. He didn't play in the Century. He played in.
Said when Poppy, who's like 2 or 1.5, 2, I don't know how old she is. When his daughter is in school, they are gonna move back there. So 6 years from now, maybe
6.
when she's 8. I don't think. Well, whatever. Okay, well, but he didn't move there yesterday. I don't want the audience.
His house is in progress of being built.
I don't know that either. You've seen that story?
I've read that.
Really?
I've read that.
He's building a home in, I think you said England.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So he's leaving. He's leaving Tiger. He's leaving Monahan, and you know he's back. And that's the whole concept we talked about yesterday with Rahm and Rory talking. Hey, we're bringing Europe back. You know, and as I talk about here, the players that really have something to say. The only players that the aristocracy is actually listening to are those Ryder Cup click players on each side of the pond, and that's it.
Okay. So, well, I don't. That's fine. If what I can take away from what you're theorizing is that I'm trying to find a way to agree with some of that, which would be if you're saying that you think that the Europeans that the aristocracy, let's just say that, sees a tremendous opportunity now with NewCo and the PIF, and they've got that ball rolling. And Rory sees it coming, or was told by Yasir or Yasir's team that this is coming together. And Rahm was the straw that really got that rolling, really good. So now we got Rahm. We're doing this thing, Rory. They tell Rory that, we're going to bring Europe back to prominence because global golf needs that. And that's what we're all about here at PIF, NewCo, Live, the whole thing. We're doing that. And you, Rory, could play a huge part of that. You should. John obviously is, Rahm. And we're going to keep going in that direction. We're going to, make sure that the Open Championship continues to flourish and be great. And maybe we'll do the Australian Open too. It's going to be awesome. And all of that's going to come somewhat at the expense of the PGA Tour, somewhat.
Yeah.
And that'll be diminished somewhat. We don't want it to go away. There's a great opportunity here. So Rory sees that opportunity to have fame and fortune more and says, oh, yeah, I'll pivot and support the PIF, which he is doing. And the R&A got rid of Martin because Martin wasn't quite seeing that same
Yeah.
thing. Does that
So,
summarize what you're saying?
Yeah, let me just put it in regards in terms of the actual golf schedule. Rory has now said I only want to play 22 times a year, which means 4 majors, 18 other events, and you're going to have 12 to 18 signature events with just the top players, and he wants half of them outside the United States. That's the bottom line.
He
Martin
said that.
Slumbers was asked to leave because he wasn't thinking that there was any chance of having a whole ton of signature events outside the United States. And Roy didn't come out and say that, but that's what he wants. I'm moving back to England. Rahm's moving over to the Live Golf Tour, and we're going to have a lot of signature. We're trying to get a lot of signature events: London, Spain, Australia, the Middle East, Asian Rim. We're tired of playing in the United States. We don't want to be there anymore. I think that's what Fitzpatrick was intimating with his comments regarding Pelley. It's like, well, yeah, his legacy is he gave the 10 best European players to the PGA Tour.
Who said that?
Fitzpatrick.
Who annoys me.
I know.
I'm not
he's
sure.
kind of annoying,
It's
but
just dumb.
at least
It's
he's annoying saying what he thinks, saying the honest truth.
I give him snaps for that. Speaking logic and truth is certainly something that
So
we
bottom
have
line
to
is
support
these
here.
two guys sold out the DP Tour, and I think the players are pissed, and some of the aristocracy says it's time for him to leave. That's why I think they were asked to quit.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I can see that with Pelley for sure. Slumbers is going to go work for Nuco in some capacity, maybe not officially Nuco, but I think he's going to be one of Yasir's right-hand guys. And the only thing missing from my conspiracy theory is that I don't know, what kind of guy Slumbers is.
Let me ask you this: do you think Greg's out then? You're going to take Greg's place?
No, that's got nothing to do. That's not the job. The job of the job of Slumbers is taking is higher up. It's a world grow golf professionally around the world, and Martin has demonstrated that he can do that. That was his charter when he came into the R&A to be CEO. That we need more revenue. We want you to enhance and grow the Open Championship. We want you to get more money coming through the R&A. And he did. I don't have his resume in front of me, but what they listed in all this press is 3, 4, 5 things that pleased the leadership, and because of his the work he's done, that the R&A has more money to now. They're sprinkling it back into amateur golf and here and there, and they pointed to some examples. I just don't have all that.
That's fabulous. He got a few million here and there, and the PIF's coming with billions. So do they really need Martin's little piddly?
Well, they need somebody that understands golf. Well, let me put it this way. If you're trying to grow a new ecosystem around the world, which I think PIF is trying to do that with Live and with Nuco, well, who's going to do that? Well, there is no list of people that have been doing that for the last 20 years to go choose from. You need the best that you have available. Nobody's done it before. Norman's a great choice, but he's busy doing Live Tour. I need a bigger guy that's an aristocrat. I don't know what Yasir's thinking, but I can imagine you want more consiglieres in on it, and Martin already has all the contacts. Remember, our theory is that Yasir Al-Rumayyan and the PIF and the Prince want deal making to grow the Saudi economy. Well,
the couple
Slumbers
still mean nothing to the
Slumbers was CEO with the golf aristocracy on the European side of things, which is phenomenally important to the Saudis. And now they can pick him off. They just did. It fits with your theory that they're trying to snuggle into the Open Championship itself as a wedge play, potentially, if they need it, to wedge one of the majors away from the other three to create more pressure to dump the OWGR. We want to, so the PIF is prying apart the landed aristocracy that doesn't want to be pried apart, but they're doing it. They've put billions of dollars at it. That didn't quite get it over the finish line. They took John Rahm to move it along even further. And we don't know who's resisting this or if there is resistance. And you've said
somewhere.
Well, you've said that you think that the PIF would like to wedge the Open away and create a gap there, and Therefore, if that could happen, that the OWGR would fall apart. That's true. So now what I'm giving you is the head guy, the day-to-day guy, the CEO of the Open Championship just quit, in my theory, which would support your theory that the PIF is continuing to do what it's been doing, which is wedge the Open away. Well, they're hiring the guy. That's what I'm conspiring about.
Well, certainly they are slowly doing the things they need to do to ensure that live golf, global golf outside the United States continues to grow and thrive. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now, my real question then is Martin Slumbers, a guy who's going to make global golf similar to Formula One, or is he going to make it like tennis, which is dead? You can't even watch I can't watch any tennis anywhere. It's crazy.
Because it's just not on TV.
Yeah, well, they don't have any audience anymore. It's played all over the world every day. It's never on. How are they paying all these guys in tennis so much? There's nobody.
They don't. You don't make money unless you're top 10 in tennis.
Anyway, so the
aristocracy pays them is the answer to your question. Okay. There's enough toy money around that you can pay 10 guys to go, 10 ladies to go win something. Yes. It's a terrible sport. Don't let your sons and daughters play professional tennis.
Well, unless they're
it makes golf look easy. It makes a pro career in golf where you can earn a good living look simple and easy comparatively.
For an extended period of time.
It is so hard to be at the top of tennis. It's unbelievably difficult.
Anyway.
Not to digress. Different show. Yeah. So anyway, I'm handing you a conspiracy theory that supports your conspiracy theory, which is Slumbers is now, that's another chess piece. Audience, come with me. It's another chess piece that Al-Rumayyan is playing. I'm hiring your guy. He knows everybody. He knows all the sponsors. He knows everything there is to know about the Open Championship. He knows everything there is to know about the OWGR. He knows everything. And how expensive is Martin Slumbers? He's a lot cheaper than John Rahm. A whole lot cheaper. And I like him. That Yasir, I have to conclude that Yasir Al-Rumayyan personally likes Martin Slumbers to some extent. Maybe he really likes him. He's continuing to spend time with him. He sat in the box at the Open Championship. That can't be the first time they ever got together. And then they went back and played. You play golf with somebody at a pro-am. That's usually meaningful. You don't invite guys you don't like. It takes too long to play golf. You don't want to hang around with somebody you don't like.
Yeah.
So we could even go so far as to say they have a budding friendship. And maybe Slumbers was Yasir was courting him that whole time. Like, Martin, give me your thoughts on this. What do you think about that? What would you do if you were in a position to help us? What would you do with a $1 billion budget to do this, that, and the next thing with golf? Oh well, Yasir, this is what I would do. Blah 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 blah. And that's how you get the juices flowing with the guy you're trying to pick off from your competitor, so to speak. And at the end of all that, you offer him a job. Martin, I loved the way you were thinking about all that. How would $40 million a year and a jet sound to go and do things? Now, it wouldn't be 40 million. I'm being funny. How would a salary of 5 million or something, a big number with options and advance to really, chance to really make some money? Of course, you'll use our fleet of airplanes. It'll be fabulous. You'll live like a king or prince, fly around and do golf stuff around the world. That's like a dream job, perhaps, for Martin Slumbers. So anyway, that's where I'm going. Option E. Okay. E. All right. Where are you still sticking with he was canned? Have I failed to convince you?
I still think he was asked to leave in combination with Pelley because they just, it's a lot of egos in the aristocracy. They just were fed up with the way he sold the DP tour down the river. I hope, and in a sense, what I'm just hoping is that at Augusta, when Monahan hopefully gets canned or announces he's canned.
Moving on to other opportunities.
Yeah. I just hope they announce something for 2025 that, resembles what we all want, a World Golf Tour with the top players, the remaining players on the DP, the PGA Tour, and the Korn Ferry Tour getting together in events to qualify for the show, the AAA baseball, getting into the majors, and then obviously the actual majors in golf are like the World Series and the playoffs. So I hope there's some announcement. I hope there's actually some breakthrough, because right now, as we had talked about a year and a half ago, when I look at Indy and kart in racing, and it destroyed the sport. The schism destroyed the sport. And I don't want to see golf end up like tennis, where it's like going to be on pay-per-view, or you got to get package level 17 on a cable network to get the tennis channel. So, and by the way, Formula One better get some competition. You can't have one team winning 21 of 22 events. And that's crazy too. So you got to have competition. You got to have the best players playing together all the time. And I just hope there's something that happens here in the spring.
Rory McIlroy is saying that verbatim in the last week, right? So they've got him saying that. He's number one personality in golf at the moment. And they have John
a 540. I hope he doesn't do a 720.
Yeah, right. And they have John Rahm already over there. So who's left really? Spieth, right? The most important man in golf at the moment. So they'll just. I think it's all coming together. It's if Slumbers goes to work for the Saudis in some capacity, then we'll look back and say, there was another conspiracy theory that we were right about. And it was a great move. I mean, let me ask you that. I mean, you've been sort of on that side of the fence for a long time, that the Saudis were courting the Open and therefore the R&A. And Slumbers is now quitting suddenly. So if that comes true, would you view it as a yet another master stroke by the PIF?
Yeah, absolutely. When you frame it like that, as I said, I think I would like to see a lot more pressure placed on the PGA Tour. And because I think that is what needs to happen to have a cordial golf ecosystem. Let's phrase it like that.
Yeah.
Where they are actually getting along, getting together, and we're going to stop all the crap, and we're going to go back to a legitimate meritocracy, in the sense that there's ways to get from one place to the next, legitimate people in the majors. The fact that like I said, the fact that a Taylor Gooch in the present system, it doesn't qualify for any of the majors, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, I think I will say this, and then we got to go. Not because the show's over, but because we're out of time.
Yes.
We're these things need to be longer. They just do. Imagine that. If Slumbers goes over there, as I guess we're now maybe predicting, I don't know if we're quite to the prediction stage, but I'm leaning in that direction, that he's going to go work for the Saudis and make this thing happen. If that happens, and they seemingly have McIlroy on board now with the One Global Golf, and they already have Rahm, and they already have the guys that are there, Koepka and the gang, DeChambeau, DJ, and others, Cam Smith, of course,
Garcia.
That this starts to look very lopsided all of a sudden, and what would really just bring it all to a crashing end for any holdouts down in the rank and file on the PGA Tour resisting this effort. If the Open Championship announces, if it has to, I guess, if the deal still doesn't come together by April, and the Open Championship comes out and says, yeah, we've got a pathway now for live guys, however many, 3, 5, 2, doesn't matter. And they're the only one that does that, then it's game over. Because now you've picked off the Open, and the other 3 majors why do we say that, audience? And I know Dark Star's wheels are already turning, because the Open Championship will then, by default, look like the only major with the best field. It's the only real major at that point. You can't have a major if all these great players aren't playing. It's no longer a major. You want to throw in anything in here at the last minute?
Yeah, just really quickly, mentioning Spieth, his little blow up at Kevin Kistner, I think, goes to show the frustration. Even though he's not saying anything, a lot of these guys are very frustrated. I don't think that bodes well for Jordan winning the PGA.
All right, well, for now, B Team is out.
Dr. Darkstar's out.
If you're a fan of the show, be sure to subscribe to our new audio podcast. That is where you will get topics that'll never get to YouTube. And there are a lot of those that we like to talk about that'll never make it to YouTube. So look in the description below for the link over to Substack. That's where you can subscribe to the podcast. And thank you again for being a fan.